Sister-in-law believes I should pay for her honeymoon. My husband's youngest brother, Jim, recently married in June to his girlfriend of 6 years, Kathy. They had a long engagement of 2 years, as there was a 6-year gap, and my in-laws were worried about Kathy's lack of maturity. I have been with my husband, Tim, for 14 years. We have 2 kids, 13-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. Both kids love Kathy and Jim. Once they became engaged, I offered to help with whatever for the wedding out of kindness. I was thinking more of a formality, with helping with DIY projects, etc. As Kathy and Jim would have a low budget for the wedding, I figured maybe my husband and I could give them something really nice for their house. She and my mother-in-law called me in May, asked for my son, daughter, and husband to be in the wedding party. No big deal, except they had to wear a specific color. I was irritated, as getting this color from David's Bridal was going to be expensive. Thankfully, I found a flower girl's dress from Amazon that was almost the same color. The ties were exclusive from David's Bridal, so we paid $30 extra to get them in 5 weeks. On the call, she also mentioned for my husband and I to pay for their honeymoon, as we could easily afford it, and we wouldn't have to get them another gift. So naturally I asked, where do you plan on going for your honeymoon? She said, Sandals Resorts. Now I had heard of these, seen the commercials, and knew in my gut this was going to be very expensive. So I asked how much is the Sandals Resort. She said $5,600. She went on about how much it would cement the union, how Jim needed a break from work, and again, we could afford it. I had an out-of-body experience. I laughed like a hyena, hysterical laughing, while she remained silent on the phone. Realizing she was serious, I told her absolutely not. We would not be funding her entire honeymoon. Heck, my hubby and I never had a honeymoon like that. She proceeded to cry and say I was going to ruin her vision for her wedding, didn't care about her, and hung up. I told my husband later for him to call his brother and tell him WTF. He just said Kathy was planning everything, so he didn't know what was going on. The day before the wedding was a nightmare as well. The day of, my kids ended up getting chiggers from being out in the random woods. She yelled at those that didn't contribute to her honeymoon fund, and her kid sister ate 26 of the 45 cupcakes for the reception. And cherry on top, her photographer lost her wedding photos. Huh. How much it would cement the union. That's quite the way to look at it. So, if she still believes you should have paid, then I guess they didn't go. That's a heck of a way to start a relationship with your new in-laws. No, they didn't have enough funds. They ended up, as a compromise, coming to stay here with us, as we live near the ocean, 2-hour drive. That ended up being a nightmare as well. My husband now calls her a pig for how she is. We were appalled after she left. I do feel bad for my brother-in-law. It looks like you did pay for their honeymoon after all. Oh yes, we even went out and got a new bed for the guest room. Jim proceeded to tell me delicately that Kathy likes to sleep naked, but had a slight accident in the bed. I thought, hey, no problem, thanks for telling me, I'll throw it in the washer. Nope, she didn't wipe well after getting sunburned from the beach the day before, and left poop on my new white duvet cover. Sister-in-law and the honeymoon. I was asked to create a post about this from some users. Recap: Jim and Kathy got married in June. Kathy and my mother-in-law, we will call her Coral, called me to ask for my husband and I to pay for their honeymoon, which was $5,600. Why? Because we could afford it. I said no and was told I was ruining her vision of her day, and I hung up. The wedding came with some very bumpy parts, but they did get married. Yay. Kathy berated everyone who did not give money or buy from her registry during the reception. We left shortly after her crying, berating everyone. I was so peed I couldn't think straight. Not once did she say, thank you for traveling to see this, or thank you for accommodating to my crazy behavior. My husband mentioned in the car on the way to the airport that Coral pulled him aside and asked if he could help fix their honeymoon situation. Since they had no backup, they were just going to go home and pout. My husband, Tim, said sure, I'll talk to OP and we can maybe have them come down for a visit. We live near the beach, we'll have nice weather, and plenty to do. Coral proceeded to pull Kathy over and said, Tim and OP have invited you and Jim for a week visit. How fun is that? Kathy then proceeded to give Tim a hug and said they would be in touch tomorrow to finalize plans. Tim said, well, I need to run things by OP, as she is a teacher and has to go back to work soon. So we will let you know if that works. Coral said, oh, I'm sure OP won't mind, Tim. Let me handle that. Good Lord, was I mad when I heard that this was all planned, even before I had heard about it. So, in the end, I thought this was a peace offering for Kathy and I to get along. Maybe I had been unfair to her. I don't know. Once we got back, we scheduled for them to arrive on June 25th, a week after they married. We found cheap tickets through Frontier. Yay, even better, it was a direct flight. We bought a new bed, as the other was a futon. New sheets, I bought items to put in a welcome package, toothbrushes, snacks, etc. I bought them new towels and gave them the kids' bathroom. Cleaned up and down the house. The day they arrived, the first thing I heard was, why Frontier? They are horrible OP. I will never fly with them again. Try to go with American Airlines next time. I let that go, but I could see this trip was not going to change my opinion of her. She asked what was for dinner, as she wanted to go out. Now, my daughter has celiac disease, so she cannot have gluten, and it makes it hard to go out. She stated, then cook her food and bring it. I chose to make a barbecue bowl instead. Everyone else loved it, besides Kathy. She didn't eat, only opened my expensive wine, and poured a glass. When Tim mentioned, that's OP's really nice wine, could you get a glass from another one? She proceeded to pour the wine back in the bottle that she drank from. I also found her rummaging through our pantry, eating snacks, since she didn't have dinner. She ate around 5 protein bars, my hubby uses for weightlifting. I also saw her spilling Coke down our couch on accident, and wiping it with our blanket. We have nice hardwood floors, so of course they were sticky. I only found out after they left, because my daughter told me. Left Coke bottles spread throughout the house, took all of the items I bought for the welcome package home, even though she didn't use them. We went to the beach, we live near the Carolina coast, so we traveled in my hubby's truck. The 2-hour drive was too much on her back. She is a bigger girl, probably around 260, and then asked for my son to switch with her. I said no. He needs to sit in the middle of the front, because he was old enough and could fit. How was she going to fit? By having both of us in the back seat, with him on my lap. She pouted the entire time, and ate candy, snacks while smacking her mouth noisily. She then proceeded once we got to the beach, to whine about no one applying sunscreen to her. I said I was putting it on my kids first, and she could ask her husband, as my kiddos were excited to start swimming in the ocean. She apparently never did, because she developed a horrible sunburn. Now, all of us got a little sun, we were there for hours, but Kathy was obviously in pain by the time we got back to the truck. Once we got home, she took a shower, grabbed some Gatorade, and went upstairs. They were leaving the next day, so I mentioned to Jim, wash anything you want. Just try to shake out the sand before putting it in the washer. Well, after tending to my family, I realized Kathy was doing laundry. I didn't think twice because maybe she was uncomfortable with Jim touching her clothes. The next day as they were leaving, Jim comes to me and says, there was a little accident in the bed. I said no problem. I was going to clean them anyways. I thought it was her period by the way he was talking. I know how embarrassing that can be, and I would just throw away the sheets. No, there was poop on the duvet, sand all over the floor, in the bathroom, and a dirty razor with pubes left in the shower. I was steaming, so I start scrubbing everything. Threw away the duvet, and when I was done, I went to start the laundry, only to find out she didn't shake out any sand. She washed and dried clothes, full of sand. Broke both my washer and dryer. Had to have them both replaced. She never did say thank you as well. Never cater to her again. I don't think I will. Which she asked how Christmas was going to go, aka, when will I get my gifts? I didn't respond back. Well, truth be said, we were going to get you guys a washer and a dryer, but we had to keep them for ourselves, since you broke the ones we had. Honestly, this is exactly what I would tell her. Also, the gift of never having to fly Frontier again, since you are never inviting her back to your home. Thanks for watching. What do you think about OP's new sister-in-law? Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos.